Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Jonathan. I'm president here at Weka, and today I'm excited to be able to share with you some of the biggest announcements the company has made to date. Before we begin though, let's take a step back. Without doubt, we are in a period of significant global change. Whether it be the long tail of coronavirus and associated supply chain issues that continuously disrupt our life daily, or the terrible events we see unfurling in Ukraine, the rapid rise of inflation, or the deflation of the public markets, the world is significantly changing. Periods of disruption often make people very fearful. And while it's important to acknowledge that change is not for all, you only have to look back a few years in history to see that periods of incredible change are also periods of incredible innovation. Back in 2008, we had another significant period of change. And in the midst of a recession, a slew of companies were born that went on to conquer the world in the subsequent decade. So periods of big disruption can also fuel massive innovation. And Weka works with some of the most innovative companies in the world in areas like high-frequency trading, autonomous vehicles, and biotechnology. Much of this innovation has been inside the data center, but increasingly companies want to innovate across core, edge, and cloud environments. Now, it's going to be no surprise that in some way most organizations have already made the leap to the cloud, but they've moved the simple workloads, DevOps, operations, QA, and backup. What they haven't moved to the cloud are the high data gravity, large scale, or high performance workloads, the impossible workloads. The reason is that the available choices for these kind of workloads are frankly pretty poor. You've got the native solutions. They're simple but mind-numbingly slow. The imposters, where you can take some hardware, put it in a co-located data center, and boom, you've got a cloud solution, but not really. And the doppelgangers, it's the same name on the box, but a very different set of capabilities inside. Unfortunately, organizations are looking for the same high performance and linear scale and ease of use that they used to have in the data center in the cloud. What they're looking for is the double-double, identical code and identical capabilities in the data center, in the cloud, or out at the edge. Now, Weka has been helping customers move workloads to AWS for more than the last 5 years. In fact, we were actually born in AWS and launched at reInvent in 2017. We're a fully containerized cloud-native software solution, which is deployed on AWS EC2 and local NVMe instances for a high-performance data platform. We extend our namespace into an S3 bucket for large-scale capacity and optimal cost. And the same data can be accessed by multiple protocols: S3, NFS, SMB, POSIX, even new protocols like NVIDIA's GPU Direct. This eliminates the pain of copying data from one service to another. And Weka is the most performant data platform available on the AWS marketplace, delivering an order of magnitude better performance than native solutions. Weka is also incredibly easy to use, and our infinitely scalable, high-performance data platform can be delivered in just minutes on the AWS marketplace. It's just 3 simple steps. Choose your options, build your stack with CloudFormation, deploy, and start accelerating your business. To see how easy this is to do, let's go over to Joel.
Hi, I'm Joel Kaufman, Senior Technical Marketing Manager for Weka. And today, I'm going to show you how we can do a full deployment in AWS, fully automated, and make it easy for you to move to the cloud using Weka. The first step in planning your Weka implementation is to go to start.weka.io. At this location, you'll find the ability to go ahead and match capacity requirements, I/O requirements, and provide a configuration that will meet those needs. So starting out by looking at the web page, you go ahead and plug in your information on the left-hand side for capacity and performance. On the right-hand side, it will dynamically go ahead and give you a set of configurations that meet those requirements. Once you have it in place and you make the decision which one of these configurations you want, go ahead and click the Deploy to AWS button. What the Deploy to AWS button does is it begins to create an AWS CloudFormation script. The importance of using an AWS CloudFormation script is it gives you a highly consistent and programmable deployment methodology. Once the script is in place, it's going to ask you a couple of questions, such as, what version of Weka would you like to run? What region of AWS would you like to deploy this in? What type of clients would you like to attach to it? So it's no longer just the storage or data platform, but also, are there any additional types of clients that need to run applications that you want to put into place to attach to that storage? At that point, you click the Deploy to AWS button, and we move forward. The CloudFormation script, when you click the button, takes you to your AWS console. You log in, and then what it will do is it'll import that information and ask you to fill in a few more details about how to create that quick stack. Some of the details that you're going to need to provide are the custom name of the stack. In this case, I'm going to create one called just AWS Deploy Demo. You're going to input networking information, subnet information, security information, and additional information about things such as what your SSH key is for access and more. At the end of this page, you just click Create Stack, and that's it. Switching over to the stack view inside of the AWS console, you can see that we now have a new stack called AWS Deploy Demo, and the status is Create in Progress. If I fast forward a little bit and I show you all the events associated with that stack, you'll begin to see all the resource trees that are coming into place. It's creating the network policies, the ENI policies, the instance creation setup. It begins to bring all of the EC2 instances to bear against the environment. So as you can see, all of the Weka backends, which provide the storage services, as well as all the clients, have been created inside of the AWS console. At this point, what the CloudFormation script will do is automate deploying the actual Weka software on top of those EC2 instances and on top of that network that has been created. Inside the AWS console now, you can click on the Resources tab and not only see each one of those individual EC2 instances, you'll be able to go in and see the outputs where you can go in and access any of these systems so that you can manage them individually. And finally, if we click the Outputs tab at the very end here, it'll actually give you the web URL where you can go in and directly access the Weka GUI. Once the Outputs tab actually shows it, it means that the Weka system has completely booted inside of the EC2 instances and is actually available to serve data. Let's go ahead and click in here. And now you can see the Weka login page. So now that we're at the Weka login page, let's go ahead and log in. And apparently I don't know how to type because I keep misspelling the password multiple times. And once that's done, as you can see here, here's the brand new Weka 4 dashboard showing you all the information about the cluster. It's up and running, it's ready to serve data. Now, to be fair, we fast forwarded this a little bit. Normally, this is about a 15 to 20 minute process, and we brought it down to 3 or 4 minutes. But keep in mind, it is only 20 minutes, and you can get all the power of Weka inside of AWS that easy.
Thanks again, Joel. It looks like the most impossible thing about that demo was getting your password right. So there you have it, folks. In just a few clicks and a few minutes, you can have all that Weka goodness up and running on AWS. Lots of companies have done exactly that. Today, Weka has moved over 230 petabytes of data associated with impossible workloads into AWS. Things like genomic sequencing, drug discovery, bioimaging, AI and machine learning, as well as visual effects production. The results are typically incredible. So let's go and hear from one of those organizations that's moved their impossible workload into the cloud.
For the folks that do not know Preymaker like this, what is Preymaker? What are you guys all about? What's their mission? What's your guys' mission, right?
Preymaker's mission is pretty simple, really. It's the best creative, using the best technology, and working with the best people. And then that's internally and externally.
When did Preymaker launch, and what was, the first challenge, the original challenge that you're trying to, the Preymaker was trying to address within the industry?
We decided to launch in the cloud from the very beginning because it gave us the ability to not only scale, but to serve a wide pool of talent globally. People who can work in so many different creative disciplines and contribute to a really healthy and vibrant project-based workflow with multiple projects running simultaneously. That was not that easy to do before and would take huge amounts of capital investment to achieve. Gives us access to the very best tools that exist and the ability to pivot from one tool to another very quickly and very easily just by utilizing a fully cloud-based infrastructure.
When you move to the cloud, right, I'm assuming for most companies, right, I mean, it's a big decision, right? Did you face any heavy challenge that you guys looked at it from far away and said, ugh, I'm not sure if that's gonna work, right?
Preymaker was never on-prem. So we started day one in the cloud. We always just like to use the new or anything that's future-facing or anything that will not leave us with a ridiculous amount of technical debt to implement or a lot of legacy. So everything that we're using currently meets that criteria.
Oh, good.
Just even from an ease of use standpoint, getting the thing up and going in the first place was so easy and so fast, and then it felt so slick, but I wasn't really expecting what I saw once we ran performance metrics, and that was laughably good. I've never seen anything like it. I've never used storage where the numbers just sold the product by themselves.
Right.
You're talking in some places, other solutions, it didn't matter how much we tried to scale them up and how much you would spend, you couldn't even get it close to what the minimum spec cluster that Weka could provide for us would do. In terms of throughput, and even in terms of IOPS, we've been running, more than 1.5 million IOPS on the minimum spec cluster that we have. Application latency in some places was 6 times better than the next best solution available. Crazy.
And that's what I was going to ask. What seemed too good to be true, right? I think it was
really
the
did.
Performance piece, right?
Yeah. Once we ran those tests, it was like, oh my God, this is the one. We are surely not going to be able to afford this. That's always the next place that your head jumps to. There's a Rolls Royce out there, but I can't afford it. And that turned out to not be true.
And in terms of cost, do you see a better value add on that?
I see that there's no cost per terabyte that anyone should be worried about. If you start to compare things like cost per terabyte divided by performance, then there's no comparison to anything else. It's incredibly affordable to have a small cluster provide a huge amount of throughput for a pretty sizable company while still being able to spread data into a huge S3 lake behind it. So as long as you're sizing correctly for whatever is hot at the time, you really don't need to build a gigantic Weka cluster, and that is what is genius about it.
Could you have make a cloud-based studio work, right, actually work without Weka? Would that be a possibility in your mind today?
We tried.
Okay, share more on that.
We started off with other solutions, and we would end up bogged down having to find ways around really poorly thought out lifecycle management, really poor interaction with S3, then left with these silos of data sitting around that we had no workflow to be able to manage or clean up. And now that's all a thing of the past with Weka.
Alan, in terms of ease of use for every day, right? How would that compare with other solutions that you have tried? I think a lot of the folks that use, storage or data platforms, they usually have, a crew behind them. How does that feel from your standpoint?
Using a Weka cluster for Preymaker is a single person operation.
Oh, wow.
As long as you have people who can react in enough time zones to cover your business, you don't have any need for an army of people managing it whatsoever.
Now complete this sentence for me. I want to see you get creative on this. Without Weka, you would
Cry.
daily.
Yeah, I mean, without Weka, my life would be much harder. My job as a studio technologist would be incredibly difficult.
Alan, thank you so much for your time today. This was a very, very good and productive conversation. I really appreciate your time and thanks for choosing Weka.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Thanks, Alan. I'm glad that we could make you happy. Now, according to Gartner, a large majority, that's 76%, of all companies are using 2 or more public clouds. Organizations want the freedom of choice and access to vendor-specific capabilities on different clouds. But the original promise of openness and transparency in the cloud has more recently been stymied by proprietary lock-in and prohibitive economics. To support the need for choice in the cloud, I'm excited to announce that the Weka data platform is now the industry's first multi-cloud data platform for AI and next-generation workloads. We've extended the performance, scale, and reliability that customers have enjoyed on premises and in AWS to Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud, and the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. For the first time, we give organizations a single, unified data platform that performs and is managed consistently across edge, core, and multi-cloud environments. This means that organizations can now move any workload to any major cloud, even the impossible ones. They can leverage the same data across multiple applications in the cloud, and they can use our advanced data reduction capabilities for even better economics. They can even easily migrate data between clouds. And unlike competitive offerings, the Weka data platform is the same codebase across all deployments, standardizing management and capabilities in every cloud. Workloads designed for traditional on-prem infrastructure commonly fail to meet performance requirements or consume excessive resources when run in the cloud. But the Weka data platform shatters these expectations. It delivers extreme I/O performance at low latency and has linear scalability regardless of the type of I/O run on it. If you run high I/O intensive applications and need low latency, the Weka data platform is for you. Equally, if you have applications that need to share large amounts of data, the Weka data platform is also for you. Early customers have seen some incredible performance on the cloud, and here to tell you about what they've seen with Weka is Pinkesh from the Oracle Cloud team.
Hello, my name is Nicole Silva. I work here at the marketing team at Weka. I'm so excited to be accompanied by Pinkesh. Pinkesh is from OCI. So for anyone who's not familiar, can you explain what is Oracle Cloud Infrastructure or OCI?
So Oracle Cloud Infrastructure is a public cloud which can be used by our customers to build and run a variety of workloads in a secure, highly available, fault-tolerant, and high-performant environment. Oracle Cloud provides the best performance for the lowest price. We have a very simplified pricing model, which enables our customers to know what's the expected cost is going to be when they run their workloads.
Can you tell us a little bit more about OCI and kind of what makes your cloud different than the others?
We basically build a cloud on bare metal. With the bare metal cloud, there is no virtualization. All of the virtualization is off the box. So this definitely enables to get much more better performance and security isolations.
So Venkash, can you tell us a little bit more about how the testing looked? I was not involved in that process, and I know you were very ingrained, so would love to hear a little bit more about that.
We basically use some of our dense I/O shapes, which comes with an RDMA networks. With the local NVMe SSDs, we can get high IOPS, and by using RDMA network, we can basically get the best throughput from the system. So we started with a small cluster first. We ran some tests. We basically did some baselining of that. Once we had the baselining, we started scaling up the cluster. We went from like 10 nodes to basically 80 nodes. We did some more testing, and then we basically eventually went to 373 nodes. So it's a pretty large cluster.
That is quite a large cluster.
Yes. And then we basically ran FIO and also ran IO 500 benchmark test. And those are the numbers we submitted during the International Supercomputing 2022, which was just a few weeks ago. And we did get ranked into the top 2 public cloud providers.
So wow, it sounds like you guys put a lot of effort in working to trying that and trying it in a bunch of different, different environments, different sizes, all of that. Was there anything throughout that process that initially surprised you?
The surprises were positive surprises. We were very happy with looking at the IOPS numbers which we got when we were running, especially when running at scale. So we didn't lose performance as we were scaling up. And in fact, we got up to like 17.4 million IOPS when we ran it on the 373 node cluster.
Wow, that is like the mic drop moment. Can you repeat that again? That sounds an insane amount of...
Yes, that's like 17.4 million IOPS on a 373 node cluster.
Yeah, I feel like, for some people, when I first saw some of these numbers, I was like, whoa, was there a typo? Did someone put an extra digit in there? And it sounded like it just really was not the case.
Yeah, I mean, like with this test, initially we had seen 1 terabyte for IO throughputs.
Yep.
Now with this one, we almost got 2 terabytes per second for IO throughputs. So that's almost doubling what we saw in the past.
That is wild, like mind blown, 2 terabytes per second of throughput. Can you explain how that day-to-day is going to look like?
What it means to the end customer is it takes less time to access the files, which in turn would mean that it takes shorter time for them to run their workloads and be able to finish their workloads faster. And in case of GPU workloads, you're basically making sure that your GPUs are more fully utilized and they're not waiting for the storage to deliver the data.
You said a really key point there that I wanted to catch. So you said your GPUs are now more fully utilized. What does that translate to our customers' bottom line?
So it basically helps to reduce costs for our customers because the more the GPUs are utilized, the lesser time it takes to execute the jobs. So it's more efficient for them. At the same time, from a business perspective, it allows them to deliver results much faster.
So more efficient, because these GPUs are extremely expensive.
Yes.
The companies that are going out there are really, the leading edge who are willing to take that investment in. So being able to spread their dollar can really go a long way, I'm assuming.
Yes, even saving like 1 or 2% of GPU utilization is huge when you're talking about multi-node clusters or large clusters of GPUs.
Well, Venkash, it was amazing talking with you today. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks, Nicole, and I look forward to working together with Weka.
Whoa, Venkash, 2 terabytes a second, that is truly incredible. But Weka 4 is about more than just performance. Unlike the doppelgangers that we heard about earlier, the full set of capabilities that organizations have enjoyed on premises are now available in their cloud of choice. These include things like the ability to ingest data just once into the Weka data platform, eliminating the need for multiple copies of data. You can read and write to that data through multiple protocols at the same time. We remove the need to constantly tune I/O due to the patented auto-tuning capabilities of the platform, delivering the perfect I/O to every workload every time. With Weka 4, you get unlimited scaling at the best cost by automatically tiering between the NVMe native compute and object storage resources of the clouds, but all within a single namespace. And you get full access to managing and automating your environment through a GUI, a client interface, and an API. With Weka 4, customers can now use the cloud in a myriad of new ways, according to their business needs and technology strategy. For example, you can run natively on the cloud. You can tier and reduce data within a cloud. You can move or backup data between clouds. You can use the cloud for cloud tiering. And you can migrate or replicate data between clouds. All of these use cases can start small, but some of them can grow to truly massive proportions. One of Amazon's biggest customers globally is Infor. So let's join Alex from the Infor team to learn about how they are using Weka in the cloud.
Alex, thank you for coming. But before we go anywhere else, why don't we introduce yourself, right? I think all of us are curious to know who you are.
I'm Alex Wang. I'm a product development director at Infor.
So Infor, it's a leading company, right? Give us or tell us about the scale.
Many of our larger customers, they process medical records in the tens or hundreds of millions of data per day. Our system, and no matter it's on-prem or cloud, we need to be scalable, and we need to be highly performance so that we can process those data.
As you're looking for a solution, what were the key top 3 requirements that you had in mind, in order for you to make that solution, the chosen one, if you will?
The solution we are looking for has to be reliable. We cannot lose data at all. Those are important, critical data. And then because it's medical record, we need to have privacy. It has to be secure. And then the third one, because many of our customers, they process hundreds of millions of medical records every day. So they need to be highly performance and highly scalable to process that many of records.
When did you guys move to the cloud? I think I'm really interested on that piece of a journey, right? And I'm assuming that was a journey. It was not an overnight event.
That's right. Cloudleaf has been a product for almost 20 years.
Wow.
On-prem. So moving to the cloud, it does take a lot of effort. And we start with working with Kubernetes and so on.
How does Weka, right, come into play? How does Weka helps you solve that some of those challenges?
The healthcare data is critical, right? And we need find a storage solution that can help us keep its privacy and secure and reliable.
When you first test Weka, right, and you saw the performance results, right? Can you share a little bit more with us? What do they look like, and from your perspective?
Before we start testing Weka, we had a lot of performance tests on native cloud capabilities because we need to simulate some of the larger customers' workload. So the test millions of medical records, and then the native cloud just couldn't process that many, and makes you just build up and in the queue, and then that means if there's any power outage or any outage, then we will get data loss. When we move to Weka, we run the same performance test. We got 69 millions of transactions right away, and then it's just blow our mind that, and we find a perfect solution.
So you said 69 millions, that was the outcome. And how many were you trying before and you could not do it?
We tried like 6 million and we couldn't even make it through.
Then you went from 6 to 69 million.
Correct.
Wow, that's fantastic. I think you mentioned the high performance, the scalability, the fact that it helped you achieve things that you would not be able to do it, right, without the solution. What are the other tangible results, right, that Weka has helped you, achieve?
We were thinking to re-architect our product and rewrite tons of code. And that means take, maybe, if not months, maybe years. Yeah, another great advantage of Weka is it's cloud agnostic, and Weka being a cloud agnostic actually help us. We can easily switch to different cloud technologies, and also it's available on-prem as well. So if you want to keep our code, kind of like minimum, like the same across all the different technology, then Weka becomes a good solution for us.
Wow.
To achieve that, because it's rewrite a lot of code for 20 years, right? Yeah.
That is right, because code that you've been writing for 20 years.
That's right. So it's a lot of investment for us to put there. And luckily, we found this Weka and help us to move there without significant rewriting of our code.
Would you have an advice, if you could give, an advice to any colleague, right, within the industry, what would that be?
I would say give Weka a try, because you have a great team to help to run this proof of concept. And from our experience, we have 10 times performance gain. So I have confidence, any customer or colleague, they want to look for a cloud storage solution, give Weka a try. I'm sure the high performance, high scalability will help them to find a great solution.
Thank you, Alex. It sounds like without Weka, it would have been near impossible to move to the cloud. So now let's talk about hybrid cloud workloads. By augmenting an existing Weka deployed on-prem, you are now simply and easily able to create an entire usable copy of that data in the cloud, which can be used in parallel for compute and burst workloads like high-performance data analytics, ETL, and as you've already heard, in video production. When no longer required, this cloud dataset can then be turned off once the work's complete. Other customers are now building sophisticated hybrid cloud workflows where they start processing the data on premises and then use Weka to move it to the cloud for final analysis or vice versa. Now, in Weka 4, you have the ability to incrementally and continuously promote data changes to the cloud, updating the remote cloud dataset non-destructively. This both minimizes the bandwidth needed and keeps the hybrid cloud workflow running non-stop. One more thing. Let's take a look at how Weka now enables migration between clouds. Joel, take it away.
Today, we're going to talk about multi-cloud data portability. In an era where 76% of CEOs are looking to have second source for various cloud deployments, Weka can provide a solution for you that meets those requirements. I'm not just going to talk about it today, but I'm going to show you an actual demo of how we can do this between two popular hyperscaler clouds. The Weka technology behind this is the snap-to-object technology. This provides the capability of moving data from an existing file system into an S3 object store, and then have that data also be accessed by another Weka file system anywhere in the world. But instead of me talking about it, how about if I show you an actual demo about how this will work? So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to log into the Weka interface. As you can see here, we've created a cluster called Weka-AWS. This particular cluster is available in Amazon Web Services, as noted. If you take a look at this particular demo, you'll also see that there are only 6 hosts in the system. This will become a lot more important later on because the other system can be a different size than the original. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to show where the S3 object store is attached to this AWS system. As you can see highlighted here, it's actually going to an S3 environment that's inside of Google itself. We are calling the Google APIs inside of the Google Cloud Platform. The next step that we're going to show you here is that we actually have this particular S3 object store attached to an active file system. Now, once that's in place, I can actually now move to a command line and show you exactly what the data looks like within that file system itself. Highlighted here, you see that it's actually an Amazon Linux AMI. It's more of a proof point to show you that we're not doing any smoke and mirrors behind the scenes. The first thing we do is we're going to go into the mount/Weka directory and get a listing of all the files that are in that environment. To go ahead and check that all the data is intact, we're going to go ahead and run a SHA-SUM function against it, and you can see the very last file has the exact same file name as the checksum, thus proving it's the exact same file. Now, if you note, the name on the file starts with FFAEB. Remember that because it'll be important later on. Moving back to the GUI here, what we're going to show is the ability to take a snapshot of that data that I just showed you within the file system. It's very, very simple. We're going to go ahead and give it a name, give it an access point, and click the Create button. As you can see, it's instantaneous. There's no performance impact whatsoever in the process of taking this snapshot. The next step now is to simply click Snapshot Upload. Once the snapshot is uploaded into the S3 bucket in the hyperscaler, it's now available for any other Weka system to go and find it and present that data and rehydrate the entire file system. The one piece of information that you need to have is this Object Store Locator ID. This is the location within the object store where you can find the root of the file system. Without it, there's no way of retrieving the information in the file system to restore in the new location. It's easy enough just to cut and paste this ID. Now we're going to log into the new Weka system that's inside of the Google Cloud. As I noted before, this can be a different size system, and as you can see here on screen, we actually have 8 hosts in the environment. We're going to go ahead and go into the object store, and as you can see, it's the exact same object store that we had sent the data from AWS and uploaded to, and so because we're mounting that exact same location, we can now begin to restore and rehydrate all of the data. The process is very simple. We go and create a new file system. In this case, we're going to call it AWS Data. We turn our tiering function on, give it a new capacity, how much data we want to present that is. We go ahead and click the slider to say Restore from Uploaded Snapshot, and we enter the object store locator that we copied previously from the AWS system. At this point, just click Create. On screen, it will show you that the file system is coming into place, the amount of capacity that it is taking up on the system, and once it shows that it is synchronized, you now have the ability to go and look at that same data. So let's go ahead and log into the command line of the Google system, the Google Weka system, and we'll go ahead and validate that all the data is in place. The first thing I'm going to do, just to prove that we are on a Google system, not just somewhere else, is I'm going to run this metadata command, and it comes back and shows you that we're actually running on Google machine types here. Again, no smoke and mirrors involved. This is really happening. I go ahead and change the directory to look at /mnt or /mount, and I see that there's a folder in there that I've pre-created called AWS Data. I'm now going to go ahead and mount that file system that I restored using the locator key to that mount location called AWS Data. Once I look inside AWS Data, you'll see that there's a full set of files. And again, I'm going to run that SHA-1 sum against it to validate that the data is exactly the same as we had on the original AWS system. It runs through, and there we go. And if you notice, that last file in place has the full checksum in place, FFAEB, proving that's the exact same data that existed originally in AWS is now available in Google Cloud. At the end of the day, this technology is extremely simple to use. We give you the tools to do it both in our GUI, our CLI, and with a vast set of APIs that Weka has developed to allow you to automate the entire process. And with that, thank you for watching this technical demo. Have a great day.
Thanks again, Joel. Moving between clouds with just a few clicks, another impossible. The Weka Data Platform leverages a combination of data tiering, new data reduction capabilities, and a broad set of media choices to deliver class-leading economics. Weka seamlessly combines the performance tier of NVMe-enabled compute instances for the lowest latency with the capacity tier of object for massive scalability, all presented in a single namespace for the best economics at exascale. Because you can scale performance and capacity independently with Weka, it's usually more than twice as cost-effective as native cloud storage services at comparable performance levels. With Weka 4, we're introducing new platform-wide data reduction on premises and in the cloud. This makes deployments even more affordable while maintaining the performance our customers rely on. And for customers with significant capacity needs who still require flash-level performance, we now support QLC drives, which lower the cost of the flash tier. Despite being a highly performant, linearly scalable data platform, Weka also typically sees a 90% reduction in administration time. But with Weka 4, this just got even better. Our new user interface allows a single administrator to quickly and easily manage hundreds of petabytes of data without any specialized storage training. Co-created with our largest customers who are asking for better ways of managing exascale environments, it provides more visibility and quicker ways to view the system status and important information they need. And of course, we still support all the robust APIs and command line capabilities you want for better integration and automation inside your IT ecosystem. So there we have it. Weka 4 delivers the speed, scale, and simplicity you've enjoyed on-prem now on the cloud of your choice. Through the clever use of data tiering, data reduction, and a wide variety of media choices, Weka 4 delivers class-leading economics on-prem and in the cloud. Today, a single administrator can manage Weka at exascale. For more information, check out weka.io/4. We can't wait to see what you create with it.